Could the next Xbox look more like a PC? Well, given recent developments, it's becoming more and more plausible that the next Xbox console is not exactly a console, and there are a lot of things to consider here. And before you dismiss this too quickly, I know everybody's going to say there's absolutely no way Xbox isn't going to make a console, they're not going to leave the console business. I don't want you to jump to that too fast, because bringing first-party Xbox games to PlayStation and Nintendo, that seemed like a joke. It seemed like some sort of a made-up rumor, and just look how quickly all that has changed. So don't be so quick to say that this will never happen, right? Never say never. The industry can change. Some of the things said recently in the public is just how much the industry is changing. And if you believe that, then I believe, according to recent comments from all sorts of people at Xbox and Microsoft, that there could be significant changes to what the hardware looks like in the future. And that's not a bad thing. It could actually put the consumer as well as Xbox into a better position than they currently stand. Now, if you like this kind of content, be sure to hit subscribe, the like button, all of those things. We have been doing the opening monologue in the form of an upload premiere that has already happened. So if you want to see a more lengthy breakdown of this with screenshots of quotes and that, be sure to check out that premiere. But I do a quick sort of Cliff's Notes version here before talking to the live audience. Now, in order to establish why this might be where the Xbox console ends up, we have to consider a few things. First, just sort of the setting of failure. And I know that seems harsh, but the truth is their hardware is down 31% year over year, and that is compared to a previous year where it was also down and declining. I don't think there's any sort of mystery here as to why the hardware is declining. I have had people completely disconnected from the gaming world ask me, yo, what's going on with Xbox? Should I even get an Xbox? Because they know that I am covering the gaming industry, and they've already heard whispers in their circles that things are changing with Xbox. So hardware going down this time is not surprising. They were already facing difficulties. There was already a lack of major first-party next-gen presence and launch titles for the box, and then they basically told people at the beginning of this year they were going to start putting first-party titles on other platforms. And they could do as much damage control as they want and say, oh, it's just these 4 games, it's just these 4 games. That affected hardware demand more than likely. Now, on the heels of this, though, Sarah Bond casts a vision. She talks about how they're already focused on the next generation. It's going to be the biggest technical leap, and this creates, at some level, a ray of hope for people that there is going to be another push from Microsoft, another push from Xbox to have hardware. Now, many people have been quick to point out that Sarah Bond said hardware, she doesn't say console. And I actually think if you pair what she has said with what Satya Nadella has said, with what Phil Spencer has said, I think lines start to connect. I think dots start to form a picture, okay? Satya recently spoke about their publishing success on an earnings call, and he was basically saying that they had 7 out of the top 25 sold games on PlayStation. Now, you're on an earnings call with Microsoft, and you're naming a platform that used to be a competitor, like by name. And you're not just naming them, you're talking about the fact that, hey, we're a top seller over there, okay? That's a pretty significant thing. You also have to look at the fact that Satya, in the quote, is comparing Xbox and Microsoft to all of the other publishers. That's a bit of a shift in how they view the company, and I think this is more in line with what many of us have been saying, that they're going to lean more heavily into publishing. And when you compare yourself to other publishers and you're like, look, we're already beating the other publishers, I think that's significant. I actually think that's also going to motivate them to do more. Just this morning, I saw headlines that Hi-Fi Rush has been rated for the Nintendo Switch. I think that's awesome, by the way. I'm on record as saying Hi-Fi Rush is a great game. I gave it as much props. I actually gave it more props that year than some of the Xbox guys, because I was like, that thing got nominated and everybody ignored the fact that it got nominated for awards. And I said that I thought it would crush on the Nintendo. So it did well on PlayStation, seemingly well enough to greenlight it also for the Nintendo Switch. Now, also, Satya is not just talking about publishing. He also mentions the fact that they want to push into, quote, more devices. And this is a great sort of pivot to look at some of the things that Phil Spencer has said. Phil has talked about opening up the model, which is a very interesting phrase if you consider the fact that, like, the PC is described as an open platform, and being constrained to a console is not very open. That's commonly a criticism from people who gravitate towards PC and see console as inferior. He's not just talked about opening up the model. In that realm where he was talking about that, he was talking about removing barriers and getting PC storefronts on the Xbox. Well, if you were going to do that, as was pointed out in the Verge article that I referenced in the monologue, if you're going to do that, you would need a device that could play PC games, right? Like, you can't just suddenly take a bunch of Steam games, a bunch of PC games from the Epic Game Store and just start running them on your console. They would have to be ported. Well, if you made a PC that was your next Xbox and it could boot up Steam and play Steam games, that's a significant injection of potential sales, potential consumers. That really, as he says, opens up the model. But he's also indicated that he wants a handheld, that he wants an Xbox handheld. And again, I think that dovetails with what he's saying. If you want to open up the model, well, you'd have a PC-based handheld and you have a PC-based console, right? And remove that stigma from the consumer of this is not a PC with a mouse and a keyboard and all these cables and all these confusing ports on the back. I'm not saying those things are confusing, but to the average consumer, it might be a bit daunting. And it is a little bit different to hook that up to your TV, right? So this PC could be very simplistic. It could have an HDMI cable, a power cable, an Ethernet cable, and that's pretty much it. But if you also pair that with a handheld, whether the handheld's dockable, like some of the rumors that we've heard, what you're doing is you're rooting the future of Xbox into a more PC-centric vantage point or centric identity, right? This, to me, is them leaving the console fight, but not in the way that you might think. When Phil said they can't out-console, Nintendo and Sony, they're not in the business of out-consoling Nintendo and Sony. That's not what this would be designed to do. This would essentially be sort of a PC hybrid. And you have developers who primarily build for PC. Whenever they're building a multi-plat game, sometimes they start with PC, sometimes they start with PlayStation, sometimes they start with Xbox. But in this situation, it would remove one of the struggles that we have seen with the first-party developers, right? Right now, a first-party Xbox developer has to build for the Series X, the Series S, and PC. And there are similarities, but what if they just had to build for PC? Because the next Xbox console is a PC, and that simplifies some of the multi-plat development that these developers are going to be facing. Because if Satya Nadella is sort of peacocking and strutting around about, oh, we're selling lots of games on PlayStation, we're some of the top sellers, that's going to come down as a directive to studios underneath Xbox ownership and Microsoft ownership to keep doing that. So if you want your studios to suddenly become multi-plat studios, they're multi-plat developing, well, you might simplify it by saying, listen, you build for PC first, and then you port to PlayStation. Or you build for PC and PlayStation at the same time in tandem. As opposed to, well, you got to build for Xbox, console, Series X, whatever the new console is. Oh, you also have to build for PC. You also have to build for PlayStation. This would essentially homogenize some of the base level development that the developers have to do underneath Microsoft's ownership. So I think this would help them. I actually think this is not a bad thing, but I do think you might be looking at an Xbox. It's a lot more like a PC than a console in the future, but those are just my thoughts. Now it's time to hear your thoughts. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, guys. Go through the morning ritual. Shorter show opens. You guys know this now. We've shifted. If you want the roughly 13-minute, 15-minute upload today, you can watch that later. Be sure to leave comments. I like to read some of those comments in the middle of the live show. So that's a great motivation. You might be featured in a live show if you leave a comment on our uploads. And go through that ritual. I need those 100 likes. We need those first 100 likes. Get those likes up, man. Smash that thumbs up. It helps more people find the video. We did have some people say they did not get a notification for the upload this morning. We're going to continue to encourage you. Bookmark my channel, check your sub feed, get in the Discord so that you don't miss these things. YouTube's been kind of finicky lately with those notifications, okay? Every day, 9:30 a.m. Eastern is when that premiere goes live, so you can set your watch to that now. There hasn't been delays on that. We've been better about having those land on time because it's a premiere. It's not me, trying to go live in the office and I get snagged by something. So, appreciate you guys being here so much. And Joker Quinn with 11 months in VIP says, getting closer to 1 year. Thank you so much, Joker Quinn. Oh, you got your noti? Yes, some people didn't get notified for the premiere. So if you're having trouble with those notifications, I would encourage you to, maybe toggle noties off and toggle them back on again or something, or hang out in the Discord or follow us on Twitter. Those are great ways to ensure you don't miss out on what's going on. And don't rely on your homepage. Like, check your sub feed. We're live every day, Monday through Friday. That upload goes live Monday through Friday as well. So, and I missed a re-up during the show open. C. Lou with 12 months and a member plus. Thank you so much. Welcome back. Aunt Jemima with 11 months says, smash it. And DK Baker, Han shot first, and so did you. We already have 27 members for the week, and that takes us to, well, another one there coming in from Joker Quinn. That takes us to 29. The goal this week is just 250. Last week you guys went crazy and you got to see Creature play Fall Guys. This week, 250 members for the week. That's very doable. You guys crush larger goals than that. And if you hit the 250, I got to play a rage game on Friday night when I stream with my wife, so make sure you're here for that. Michael Andrej Molnar with the 5 spot says, the next Xbox console will be a dockable handheld and a hybrid. By the way, Xbox and Windows, also PC console hybrid. That's where a lot of people are going. A lot of people are taking that line of thinking that the next Xbox is essentially going to be some type of a hybrid PC handheld. Something of that nature. And I would say that actually doesn't hurt existing console users if they want to come over, okay? Because if you look at Sarah Bond when she's talking about they've got this team, they're committed to letting you bring your library forward, they're committed to backwards compatibility, like, that to me signals there's a change coming and they need a team prepared to bring your stuff with you. If you're just going to buy another Xbox console, then they don't need to do that. You would just log in to your Xbox console and all your stuff would be there just the same way it was this time around, right? They already did the work for backwards compatibility, did they not? They already set that up. They set up basically an emulator that emulates those 360 games, okay? Or Xbox One games or whatever. And they set all that up already. So why would they be doing more of that? Well, again, I think that signals a change is coming. Thank you, DK Bager, for 18 months of memberships. Welcome back, and thanks for renewing. So if she's saying that, that sounds to me like you would be purchasing a different piece of hardware that would then need to be, I log in and all my whole Xbox library is here and it runs on this PC console hybrid, but there's also the Steam, store, there's the Epic Game Store, there's any PC based store that would like to be on the device. Now that doesn't hurt existing console users. Now, it might hurt existing console users if during this process maybe they leave behind the old generation faster. I'm imagining this would be launching as their next-gen console. Now, the speculation about 2026, I don't know about that. That feels kind of early, and if it lands then what do the Series X and Series S owners do? Because I do believe this device would leave them behind. It'd be like, no, you can't come with us. You weren't built for this. We need to open, as Phil Spencer said, we need to open the model. We need the model to be more open. Darth Nihilus with 28 months in a VIP, welcome back. Greg Brimstone says, I hope what you're saying is true. It sounds like great news, as most libraries on Xbox, and there's a lot of PC games I'd like to play and never got a chance to. The reason that I would love this is anytime there is an indie showcase, I go and I wish list a bunch of games, and then I get an email, and it says, hey, this game just went on live, right? This game just went live. Oh, they've announced it at the Xbox showcase. So Xbox is hinting at something. This is convenient. This is convenient since we're covering Xbox. I will show you guys what this is, and you guys can start guessing what this secret showcase is going to be about. Let me show you here. They literally just tweeted 4 minutes ago. All right, let's get this big and on the screen for you. And let me change my cap card. There we go. So it says, we're going to be talking about games, of course. Tune in to the Xbox Game Showcase, followed by Redacted Direct on Sunday, June the 9th at 10 a.m. Pacific. Okay, because they're doing Sunday again, just like last time, June the 9th. All right. What in the world is this image? I got to be honest, that looks like something Division-based, does it not? Or do you think it's Call of Duty? Oh, yeah, Call of Duty makes more sense. I just see the White House and the orange. I see 3 wolves in front of a shield. Yeah, probably Call of Duty. I mean, I see an OD right here. Oh, no, that's money. That says "In God We Trust." That's the back of a whatever. Which bill is that? That's 3 dogs. Yeah, 3 dogs, 3 wolves, something like that. COD Gulf War. I don't know. It's not DC. It's a dollar. It's the back of a bill. Which dollar bill has that on the back? They have. That's not the White House. I'm sorry. That's the Capitol building. So they have the Capitol building. They have In God We Trust. Which bill is that? That's money. So I mean, maybe it is. What? Why would? I mean, I guess money would be a part of something with Call of Duty if you're dealing with. I don't know. Call of Duty is there is. I'm trying to see what the word is that's like this scrubbed out. It's a new Call of Duty announcement. I was thinking Cerberus. It's on the back of the $20 bill. Okay. It's on the back of the $1 bill? In any case, I would say if I'm betting money, I would say Call of Duty. I would say Call of Duty because if they're banking on giving something its own showcase, it doesn't make sense that it would be the Division. Even though as soon as I see the colors, I think the Division. I see orange, I see DC, you know, I see it like an icon of sorts. But I do think that if they're going to leverage a piece of property in the summer, I think Call of Duty makes the most sense. Oh, it's on the back of the $50 bill. Okay. Three-headed dog could be Cerberus. It's the 50. Okay, yeah, I've got a picture of the back of the $50 bill. So they got the Capitol building. They've got In God We Trust. So yeah, that's definitely a $50 bill. Watch Dogs type of game. I don't think it's going to be something new. Here, let me go to the other side so you can see the font they're using. That's definitely not the Call of Duty font. I will say that. That doesn't mean anything, but that's not the Call of Duty font. They don't always use the exact same font. I guess they don't typically use the font from the logo. If I were a betting man, I would bet Call of Duty. Wolves Den is a heist-style game. Could be Black Ops, because isn't Gulf War Black Ops title technically? Yeah, it's technically, it's probably going to have the vibe of a Black Ops game, is it not? Isn't it supposed to be basically like Black Ops 1 rebooted, kind of like they did with MW and MW2 and MW3? What could the next COD to remake? I mean, they're basically working their way through Black Ops, are they not? I don't think they're going to call it Black Ops. I thought they were going to call it Gulf War or something. Oh, you're saying that's the font for the Black Ops series? Does it actually match? I've not looked that up yet. In my mind, I thought they were going to do something for the Starfield Shattered Space DLC, right? I thought they were going to do that. I thought we were going to get a Starfield Shattered Space Direct where they were going to talk all about that. It seems like that'll I mean, I'm assuming Starfield Shattered Space will be part of the Xbox Showcase because you got Todd Howard doing interviews right now, and that's basically coming in the fall of this year. So you're not going to keep that out of the limelight in the summer. That's definitely going to be front and center. So I would say, you know, what's interesting is down here in the corner, there's something copyrighted and there's an angle. Somebody's got me a Call of Duty Black Ops piece of art in the Discord, and I will say it's certainly similar. It's not identical, but it's certainly similar. If you look at especially down here, immediately following the showcase, also the use of orange. Call of Duty Black Ops, hasn't it used orange since the second? I think since the second game they've used orange, or was it the third game where they used orange for the 3? I thought they used orange in the other titles. That's Call of Duty 2025. Yeah, I agree. I think if I was a betting man and I was putting money on the table, I would say that this is going to be Call of Duty. Again, I do think it's interesting. I wonder what's down here. What would be, there's almost, that's probably an A or an M. Yeah, Call of Duty Black Ops 2 started using orange in the number 2. Activision. That's the Activision logo. That's exactly right. Down here's the Activision logo. Good catch. Good catch, Fuzzy. Yep. Boom. That's the Activision logo. So here is the beginning of the A, and the point sticking out down here, that's the bottom of the V, because the bottom of the V extends below the bottom line, and then you have your copyright over here, your R for copyright. This is 100% Activision's logo. This is Call of Duty. There we. I'm about 99% sure now that if you're going to anchor your copyright logos. Xbox is down here behind me. Over there is Activision. Yeah, Call of Duty. No question about it. Somebody could easily do an overlay of the Activision logo down there to prove what we're saying. Yeah. The new Call of Duty is Black Ops Gulf War. What's the mystery again? I was twittering. Well, this is the surprise that Xbox just tweeted out. That following the Xbox Game Showcase on Sunday, June the 9th, there's going to be, I'm going to say it right now, that's Call of Duty. No doubt in my mind. I see Ops in the other redacted. Oh, yeah, right here. OPS. Yep. And right here, which number would this be? Are they going to add a number? Are they going to call it 5? See, there's orange sticking out here. Which number would it be? Would it be 5? This is probably just a V then, right? Right there is maybe the corner of the V sticking out. Yeah, B L A C K. Black fits right here. O P S V. Black Ops 5. That's what that is. In fact, if you get me, if I had Photoshop open right now and I had the Black Ops logo PNG, I bet you I could lay it right over top of this and it would line up perfectly. I bet you it would line up perfectly. And then you just slap a V down here. Okay. We're tweeting. Black Ops. Hang on. Black Ops V Direct. Zero doubts. All leaks are saying Gulf War. They're gonna say Black Ops 5 Gulf War though, are they not? That would be my bet. That would be my bet. They're gonna call it Black Ops 5 Gulf War. Which, that's certainly a different approach. That's a different approach because they basically rebooted Modern Warfare, right? They rebooted Modern Warfare and then MW2 and MW3. MW3 was a bit of a disaster, but MW2 was good and MW1 was like the one that I think people praised the most. And that makes sense, right? They probably spent more time on it. Gulf War means it's a remake. So could it be Black Ops 1? They didn't do that with MW. They didn't put a 1 on it. Do you think they would put a 1 there? There's got to be something. There's got to be something down here on the side that's orange. Because this is clearly right here the words Black Ops. There is something here, and it comes out at an angle. It makes the most sense for that to be an orange V. They wouldn't put a 1 there. Won't have a number. Homie, there's something here. There is something after the word Black Ops. Because you can count the letters. B-L-A-C. You can literally see the K. You can see the parts of the K coming out right here. O-P-S. That's Black Ops. All the white. There is an orange symbol down here. No number, it's a remake? I don't know. That's Black Ops V right there. That's Black Ops V is what that is. Black Ops X? Why would they call it X? Gulf War is continuing after Cold War. I don't know what they're putting. It's a V or an X, so it's a V. An X wouldn't make any sense, would it? Why would they call it Black Ops 10? I don't have access to a photo editor on this PC, no. Definitely a V. They'll call it Black Ops Gulf War. I mean, where does Cold War come in on the timeline? You have Black Ops 1 through 4. Do we just stop talking about the next Xbox? I mean, what do you want me to do, dude? We're talking Xbox. Xbox tweets, 20 minutes into my show. That's the nature of the gaming world, brother. I mean, that's something to consider, isn't it? That like if they're working this way now of leveraging Call of Duty with their showcase, and they're thinking like I argued, with Satya basically comparing themselves to all other publishers, and they want to open up the model. I mean, I think it's tangentially related to have one of their bigger pieces of property front and center in an Xbox showcase. Yeah, this is still technically Xbox. Yeah, I thought that the Returnal thing was kind of it's cool, but they shouldn't have hyped everybody up. They should have just surprised everybody with it. I was a little critical of that. I was like, that's not something that you do. You don't get everybody excited about a game, and then you're like, well, it's nothing it's no game content. It's like, oh, okay. Does it mean there'll be a pet sidekick or the animal? I mean, they use wolves and dogs commonly in games like this for icons and names of things. I don't know why you keep spamming 30 FPS. Come on, man, it's 2024. You've shown up here before, and you said that's true. 30 FPS is a joke, and you said, "Come on, man, 30 FPS." Are you a bot? Xbox sent me a survey asking about handheld, so all but confirmed from Xbox about a handheld. Well, I thought The Verge, so we can bring things kind of back, okay? So if you just missed it, Xbox announced their showcase is going to be Sunday, June the 9th at 10 a.m. Pacific, and it's going to be followed by what I am calling a Black Ops 5 Direct. I think that's what that is. You can disagree with me and say that there'll be no number and they're going to call it something else. That, as far as I can tell, behind that black bar above Direct is Black Ops 5. So we've broken that down. I sent out my tweet. I made my prediction. Let's kind of bring things back to Xbox hardware. The future of Xbox hardware. The Xbox Next console seems to be, all signs are pointing to something that is more PC-based. Whether it's the handheld, dockable handheld hybrid, or some kind of an Xbox PC in your home. I mean, a dockable handheld would essentially be that if, according to Phil Spencer, they want to open up the platform, or he said open up the model. Well, that doesn't sound like a console to me. You don't open up the model on a console. Consoles are not open, right? They're not. Consoles are basically closed systems. That's a common phrase that is used. PC is an open platform, consoles are closed platform, and that's commonly a not just a phrase that is used, but a criticism, that people make. Let's be clear, this can run PC games, this can run PC software, this thing can dual boot into Linux. Yeah, I don't know. Down and dirty, it seems scaling is a little off for Black Ops, taken from Black Ops 2. However, the Activision lines up almost perfectly. I mean, that looks perfect to me. We had somebody do a rough Photoshop. I'll show you. You have a bigger version, Fuzzy? Pause. All right. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. See? It very much perfectly fits. You just needed to stretch it a little, like you need to stretch Black Ops a little larger and it would have fit. Yeah. Telling you, brothers, that's a V. These consoles are basically PCs and can be opened up if built to. If it's just running a curated list of PC games, that is much easier than it just runs PC software. Well, but again, I think Phil Spencer's dialogue is signaling something else. I don't think Phil Spencer's dialogue is signaling like, oh, it'll run some PC games. In my mind, it would like you would open up Steam and you'd be able to play all the games that are there, right? Similarly to when you boot up a game on a PC now, what do? It knows the hardware that you have and it runs accordingly, right? You go in and tweak some settings. You maybe lower FOV, lower resolution, things like that. Like I don't necessarily think that. Reach, I don't know why you're DMing to me. Does he say something else? Phil Spencer says, we're excited to share updates from our partners and our own creative teams across Activision, Blizzard, Bethesda, and Xbox Game Studios. Tune in at 10 a.m. Pacific on June 9th. You sent that to me like 3 minutes ago. Was there something in that you wanted me to see? Was it the fact that he listed the other devs or the other studios? I'm sorry. Xbox hardware again. This guy left a comment. I mean, I think so, yes. Looks like it. I don't think they're abandoning hardware. Sarah Bonds made that clear. This guy leaves a comment, says, Xbox is here to stay. They are now stronger than ever with ABK on their side. I really do think Xbox needed this the most. Good things are to come. Can't wait to see what's on the horizon. Without ABK, they were in decline. I don't know about stronger than ever. I don't know if I would say they're stronger than ever. You could say they're stronger than before. Oh, okay, yeah, the others. It's going to be like the Steam Deck. You access the Xbox app and can launch into Windows separately. The success of the Steam Deck, says, this is coming from Zaf Virex. He says another handheld suggests a console with the same concept could do well, especially if sold by a big company. That's exactly where my mind went. It was like, well, if that's the route they take, people have been receptive to this, and if you put it into the more consumer-friendly environments, Best Buy, Target, Amazon, like people are like, oh, that's not a PC, it's an Xbox PC or something to that nature. I actually be curious what they would call it. But I think people would be more receptive of something. You know, obviously the image on my thumbnail it's AI. You know, I was like, well, show me an Xbox PC. And Creature did the same with his thumbnail on the premiere. If you guys didn't see the premiere, be sure to circle back to that. Thank you everybody who tuned in. That video is doing well and getting comments and engagement. So thank you everybody who's done that. If you've come over from that premiere, let us know. We want to know if like people find us throughout the day doing that. So, and people are leaving comments right now on that video. This guy here says, Black Mesa Cake says, I personally don't feel there has been a major update in gaming since the OG Xbox generation, and this could be the generation that does it. Switch, I think the Switch and PS5 did it for me. I do. I think the Switch and the PS5 brought things forward and are still bringing things forward, right? It's hard not to look at the Switch and think that it hasn't had an impact. No one's buying if it's still an Xbox. I don't know. I think it's compelling to say this is no longer, you know, imagine the marketing, okay? They just call it the Xbox. They don't call it anything else. They just say, welcome to the Xbox. More than a console. You know what I'm saying? Do you understand how somebody might look at that and think, what do you mean it's more than a console? And they're like, it's a PC. It's a handheld. It's everything that you need in gaming. Do you like to play PC games? Do you like to play the latest, biggest titles like Call of Duty? Do you like to game on the go? Xbox has you covered. More than a console. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's compelling. That hits a wide demographic. There are people that would say, oh, a handheld? I like that. That sounds nice. Or there'd be people that say, oh, I like playing those games. I like playing the big titles. They own all those titles. You know what I'm saying? Oh, PC games? I can get PC games on it? I don't know, man. There's a lot of people that would be willing to at least listen. Lono, for Xbox marketing director, with wording like that, you could sell it. I'm telling you, Xbox more than a console. Like, it's just, I just see it in my mind. It's like, that just makes sense to me to say, no, this is more than a console. You want to go buy a console? Fine. This is more than a console. See, what they're doing is they're passively creating this idea that consoles are limited, because they are. If we're honest, you have to be honest about the fact that the console is limited. I would love to be able to load up the Steam Marketplace on my PlayStation 5. That'd be amazing. I'd be able to try out all those indie games that I wish list. Instead, it's like, well, I got to come into the office, or I got to take one of my secondary rigs, I got to hook it up to this TV, and then I got to make sure my mouse and keyboard is either accessible or wireless. I don't want to do any of that. That's too much trouble. I would love to have everything in one spot. I understand why really, really hardcore Steam guys don't want to install the Epic Game Launcher, although that's a lot more convenient than what I just described. Like, I get it. You want everything kind of in one place. Mad Men, they're toasted. That's right. You know, if you're the first one to say it, then everybody else is copying you. And if everybody's doing a console and you're like, yeah, we're more than a console, you completely tilt the marketing in your favor to a degree, because people would say, well, what do you mean you're more than a console? Oh, you like games like Call of Duty and Diablo, right? They would use the big name titles that they own, Fallout, things like that. You like games like that? Yeah, we have those. Those are ours. Oh, those are on Game Pass. Oh, you like handheld gaming like the Nintendo Switch? Yeah, we have that. It's dockable, it's attachable, whatever, however the handheld plays a role. Oh, you like PC games? Yeah, we have that. So it's like that's why when I hear Phil say he wants to open up the model, I'm like, that could quite literally be a device that does all those things, and then that's their marketing push, is that it's more than a console. It's this wide open model that hits a broad spectrum of consumers. Now, am I saying it's going to be successful? No. I'm saying it's compelling. I think that's compelling. The target for this audience today, right now, what are they gaming on? If I'm thinking about the generation behind me, they game on everything. And if this basically is that, like, I picture my nephews. They play on the PC, the Switch, their phones, iPads, Xbox, and a PlayStation. They have all of it. And if you sell them an Xbox that basically can do everything except for first-party Nintendo and PlayStation, that'd be it. They'd get the third-party games because it would be a PC, right? You get the handheld, you get PC Marketplace, you get all of Xbox first-party titles, you get Game Pass. I'm telling you, I think that's a pretty compelling offer to the generation behind us. Two-Spot from Otagon Ocelot says, they tried that with the Xbox One, we want a game machine. Everything I just said is game-centric. I didn't say anything about TV. I didn't say anything about entertainment or movies. I didn't say anything about that. Everything I just talked about is gaming-centric. A handheld, Game Pass, big titles like Call of Duty, and PC Marketplace. That's all gaming related. My sister's boy plays on a tablet the most. You're talking about a Steam Deck? Not necessarily. I'm talking about a PC hybrid that you would plug into your television that might even have a dockable handheld. So why is this compelling compared to a traditional PC? I would say it's compelling compared to a traditional PC because it comes. I'm imagining this would come with the dockable handheld. I'm imagining this would be like an all-in-one device of sorts, or maybe the handheld's optional. I don't know. Just buy a PC at that point. Well, 120 million people have purchased the Nintendo Switch. So, 50 million have purchased a PlayStation 5. Over 120 million have purchased a PlayStation 4. Do you think there's a market for people that maybe don't want a PC or maybe like playing on a console? Maybe they want something to plug into their television that's more simplistic. Maybe they want something that they can game on the go. There's a very broad spectrum of people who have purchased all of these devices and don't have any interest in buying a gaming PC. You're talking to me and you're talking to people that are on Reddit and Twitter and forums and could go use PC Part Picker. We're plugged in. We're not the norm. We're not the vast majority of the market. The global market isn't going to just go buy a PC. They're not. And if Xbox can keep the price of this machine down as compared to go buy a gaming rig right now and you want to play the latest games at, I would say, good. Not ultra settings, but just good settings. You're going to spend around $1,000. That's like your starting price. Now, you could skimp, wait for a sale, or you could buy the device. It's like $800, but you know you're going to be missing some things. Maybe you're going to have less of something, okay, if you go in the 800 range. On average, if you go pre-built Amazon or Best Buy, then you're like, I want a gaming rig that can run games at like really good settings. Not ultra, just good settings. You're going to spend about $1,000. So all Xbox has to do is fall below that. Now, I don't know if they'd be able to turn back the clock on how they just spent 4 years marketing to people with the Series S. Maybe they're considering the fact that their Series X and S hardware has floundered in demand and has not done well, maybe because a luxury market doesn't respond to budget hardware. That, like, I'm not insulting the hardware, but it's the lower price. It's like, this is the most economical, console to buy. I mean, I guess you could say the Switch is. But if you're wanting an actual, like, next-gen box to play the latest and greatest games that aren't Nintendo games, then that's the economical choice. That's the budget choice. And the market hasn't responded to it. So they could be internally saying, it doesn't matter if our next hardware is expensive. The customer base responds to pricey peripherals. They respond to the PlayStation 5. They've responded to the PlayStation DualSense Edge and the PlayStation Portal. They respond to these things. What are we doing? We don't need to sell our next piece of hardware at a low price. They don't need to. It communicates value if it hits the market. It's an all-in-one device. It's PC games, it's handheld, it's whatever, and it's at a premium price. That actually might help it more than hurt it. When I changed my rates as a graphic designer, I got better customers because they saw that I valued my work and they were willing to spend. I got better consumers. I got better customers. 5 Spot from Street Shadow. I have a PC, a PlayStation 5, a Switch. 95% of my gaming is on console. I work in tech all day and just want to sit on my couch with my wife and kid to play. And imagine an Xbox PC that can give you Game Pass. That's great for the kiddo, right? Or the PC marketplace. And all of a sudden you can get into Steam. There are so many games on Steam. I thought, that'd be so fun to play with Madam. Little indie titles, little co-op, little 2-player games. Autogon also with another $2 super chat tip. Great exclusive games. Only way to get me to buy an Xbox. Yeah, see, I don't think they want to leverage exclusives anymore. I think they would want to leverage... Again, this is presuming they really want to have a strong foothold in hardware, or at least, I'll say, a presence in hardware. We're assuming that, right? We're assuming that that's something that they want to do, and it seems that they do. Sarah Bond is signaling that. Satya is signaling that. Phil is signaling that. They're signaling that some type of hardware is coming. An open model piece of hardware, a handheld something. We know these are things that Phil wants. The Green Monster with a $5 super chat tip. $800 can get you a PC that can do 1440 at 60 to 100. Right, but oftentimes when you go to the store and you're standing in the store, the salesman's going to be like, yeah, but for 200 more, right? you're going to be in the $800 to $1,000 range, okay? I don't want to get into that debate with you PC guys. It absolutely makes it's like putting my brain in a microwave. If you want to argue that you can get that performance in most games for $800, you're not engaging with what I'm talking about. You're being pedantic about something that doesn't matter. What matters is the principle. The principle is the average pre-built gaming rig is more expensive. It's around $1,000, right? Every time I say this, I get pushed back. Every time I say this, I get clipped and attacked by weird PC Master Race guys that like part pick on eBay. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the average consumer going into the store and being like, I can buy a console for around $400 to $500, or I can buy a gaming PC for around $800 to $1,000. You're talking about suddenly doubling what they have to spend. That's the point I'm making. If you want to do this weird hair split pedantic thing about, well, actually, let me straighten my glasses and educate you on the price of PC parts and what you can get a PC for and what the average performance of the PC would be if you spent around $800. That's not the point of what I was saying. The average consumer doesn't even know what 1440p is. They don't care about that. They're going to be looking at the price tag. They will be looking at the price tag. Amazon, Target, Best Buy, and they're going to be saying, this is a box that I take home and plug into the TV for $500. That's a PC. It's got lights and all these ports on the back, and I need a keyboard and a mouse, and it's twice as expensive, right? That's a difficult transition for that consumer to make. Consumers don't like change, right? I used to try to get people to convince them to like change their home services from like whatever they had for internet or TV to a new internet TV thing, right? So that's the only point. Whenever I bring that up, everybody always wants to like pump the brakes and have a debate about the price of PCs. That's not the point of what I'm saying. And if you make that more accessible to people, man, I've always thought about maybe getting a gaming PC. They don't need to have that question anymore. They could buy this Xbox PC hybrid thing, and it essentially gives them what they've always considered getting without all of the added confusion or other things. Lono doesn't know PC, but you still want to comment on price and performance? I don't know PC. So you think after this many years in the industry and this many years as a gamer, I don't know PC? Okay. That's either bait or it's so ignorant it's not worth interacting with. I know enough about PC to comment on price and performance, right? Go run to your people that like to act like I don't know what I'm talking about. That sounds like you'd have a better time with them. I actually would prefer you do that. I would prefer you to not come back. You bring an air here that I find to be unpleasant. So there you go. You got your clip. The point of the discussion is that if Xbox were to come to the market with something that satisfies, I want to take my thing and I want a game on the go. I've always thought about getting a PC, but it's expensive. I've always thought about getting a PC, but I don't want to have to hook up a mouse and a keyboard in my living room. I just want to plug it into my television, push a button on my controller, right? That's what I want to do. Well, this would solve that problem. Because I do think right now, if you go and you're just choosing between consoles, then what's gonna make your mind up for you? What's gonna be the exclusives? We can act like exclusives don't matter. You can act like you can act like first party games don't matter. Like, well, PlayStation this or PlayStation that. That actually is going to be the difference. If you're standing in the store and you're like, I want to play Mario Kart, that's going to determine what you purchase. If you're standing in the store and you're like, I want to play Spider-Man, that's going to determine what you purchase. If Xbox has abandoned that strategy, which they have, then their only other offer in hardware would have to be something other than the games that you can, something other than their exclusives or their games or their first party property. Does that make sense? Bush and Ryu Cat with a 5 spot. I bought a Steam Deck for myself and I loved it until my son gave me these eyes. I gave it to him, but can play Steam games on my laptop. Same for Game Pass. Right, and it's a device like this that we're imagining would help with that. It would solve that. I'm all about PC, but I have an $1,800 GPU that doesn't compare to a whole Xbox that plays games. I would be quicker to buy an Xbox PC that could play Steam games, that could play Game Pass, that could play, Steam games and Game Pass. I'd be quicker to do that than to want to, like, get a PC set up in my living room. Like, I have one out there now, and the main reason it's out there is there were times where I was using it to capture footage. That's the main reason that I put it out there, right? Xbox handheld 4K 60 eats monsters for breakfast again. No. Nope. No, hotshot. I don't even think they would attempt to market on that. They would not even attempt to market on that. They would be selling you features rather than performance. It would be a complete shift in marketing. It would not be like if you go back and look at Project Scarlet marketing and you look at Xbox Series X marketing and you look at what they were marketing on, they've not made mention of that since, for good reason, because all of those promises are basically broken. So you don't want to bring those up again. You set your video to private, you pretend you never said those things, and then you just start focusing on Game Pass and ABK, right? You just wave your hands and everyone's like, oh, there's new shiny things over here. I don't think they would talk about that. Instead of being the best hardware, it's got to be the best place to play. Right, when they've talked about every screen is an Xbox, play anywhere, giving the players more freedom. When everybody plays, everybody wins, like all of those taglines. I think they would sell you the console PC hybrid on features. They wouldn't sell you on power. Eugene says, I'd like to throw something out. Casuals aren't after Xbox. If they were, Xbox would be doing better. This would be a shift to trying to land higher-end customers. I think yes. I think yes, because it would be expensive. I don't think this thing would be cheap. Stonespire with a $20 super chat tip says, as you know, I'm mainly a PC gamer. You're absolutely right. The $800 rigs you usually will give you, you really have to give up great performance. My pre-built gaming rig was $1,200. I didn't want to compromise power or performance. And usually, if you're interested in getting a PC, you're going to say, you're literally going to say, well, what kind of performance am I going to get? I don't think the average person is going to be like, well, I tell you what I'll do. I'm going to upgrade to PC, and when is this thing releasing? The Returnal thing is paperback is releasing October 22nd. Like, the point that I'm making is the minute your mind goes to, I might upgrade to a PC, I don't think you're going to be debating between 500 and 800. You're not. The minute you're even considering it, you're going to be like, well, I want better performance. I'm telling you, as soon as a consumer like crosses that line and they're like, yeah, I'd like to get a PC. My friends told me about it. My friend's got it, and he plays games, and they all look amazing. I'd like to do the same thing. Well, the minute you're in that consideration, I don't think you're going to be like, give me the cheapest thing you got. Now you might be like, yeah, I can barely afford this, or I'm trying to save, or whatever. But that doesn't mean that you're going to be trying to go bottom of the barrel. I think as soon as you're entertaining it, you're like, no, I want good performance. I'm going to spend a little bit more. The average consumer, the more casual consumer, is not going to do that. They're not going to care about any of that stuff. They're going to gravitate toward the console. Green Monster with a $5 super chat. Hit the like button, guys. 600 people watching, or 200 likes. Green Monster is calling you out, chat. There's 600 people here and only 200 likes. He wants to see 300 likes. Here's the problem I have when people, not you, but people in general talk about PC performance and think every PC that doesn't have the latest cards are automatically outdated. Well, of course. But if you're going to upgrade to a PC, that I think the average person that's going to consider that's going to think, I want pretty good performance. You're going to spend anywhere from $800 to $1,000. Let's just say 800 to satisfy the PC guys that just can't stand if I ever utter a word about PC, right? As they probably have rigs weaker than mine, most of them, according to Steam charts. The odds are in my favor that my gaming rig is stronger than yours, so they all walk around and peacock like their PCs are really strong, but Steam tells a different story, right? If it's 800, you're still in the same discussion. You're still in the same consideration. You're in the same consideration. You're considering spending roughly twice as much money and then entering into a system and world that's unfamiliar to you. Xbox can completely remove that question and say, this is an Xbox, but it's also a handheld, but it's also a PC. Like, it's all of those things with the same ease and use of a console. You just plug it into your TV. You don't need a keyboard. You don't need a mouse. There's not a bunch of lights and weird ports on the back. You can look at the back of a PC, and to you, it all makes sense. You turn that thing around and show it to the average consumer, and you're like, can you show me where the video card is? They're going to be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, that's the thing you have to understand is if you're trying to get those people, and those people have purchased Nintendo Switches, they purchased PlayStation 5s, they have purchased very easy entrances into gaming without all of those other things. I think a PC console could do that. I think it could reach those people. Like, wait. This would solve a lot of problems for me. I'd have all of my Steam stuff. I'd have access to Game Pass for all in one device. Oh, it also would be a handheld. Like that answers a lot of developing gamer preferences, right? I still have a PC here that has a Vega 64 that runs games rather well, and those who still have 1080 Ti can still run games really well, and it's comparable to consoles. Right, and this always happens. You aren't thinking about the average consumer. The average consumer doesn't have a clue what you're talking about. They don't know what a 1080 is. They don't know what performance versus a console even looks like. They wouldn't even know what to ask. They wouldn't even need to be like, well, what's the resolution in frames per second? They wouldn't even know to ask about those things. That's the point. Is like, there are clearly people who like to buy a Nintendo Switch. They like to buy a PlayStation, right? There's even in the market, there's people still buying Xboxes. And all of those people are not tuned in the way that we are. So they're not even going to know that, well, I could buy this rig for this much money, and I could go in and I could tweak the settings, and I could get very close to what most of the consoles are doing right now. They don't know that. They wouldn't even know. They wouldn't even think in those categories. They don't have a category for what you're talking about. That's why every time this conversation comes up, so many people make the mistake of like projecting onto the market all of their knowledge. It's like they don't have all that knowledge. Do you think the average person walks in and buys a television and knows what refresh rates are? No, they don't know what that is. They're going to be like, that one's bigger. That one's bigger and that one's more expensive. Give me that one. Most consumers are going to think that way. They're going to think very simplistically. They're not going to know all of these details that you know. There are guys in here that could tell you what make and model of every TV can do. I don't know any of that. And most consumers don't either. Hang on, I missed a couple things. Whiskey Neat with 15 months in a VIP. I bought a mid PC in 2020 mainly for indie games. If Xbox had a hybrid and then with Steam access, I probably would have gone that route. It sounds like it would be less of a headache and less to troubleshoot issues. Exactly. That's what I'm saying, Whiskey. I think this is probable. I think this would solve problems. I think this would be appealing to consumers. A 10 spot from Sneaky Wolf. If this is a handheld Xbox console that can access Windows and open other storefronts like Steam and Epic, Xbox could be aiming at the new secondary console, kind of like the Switch. Maybe. I see it being more of a... I see it being more of like a a boulder that hits a lot of birds, right? Two birds with one stone. Like, this would be a boulder that, like, sort of, like, rolls down the hill, and it's like, we can do that, we can do that, and we can do that. The concern would be, when you try to appeal to everyone, you end up appealing to no one. That would be the concern, is... I'm thinking about myself, okay? I would buy it, and I would use it a whole lot more than I use my Xbox now. I know I would. I know for 100%, anytime those Steam games hit my wish list, I would boot up my Xbox PC and I would play them. I would. I know for a fact that I would. I know for a fact that my kids would continue to use Game Pass, right? And we would continue to use our Nintendo Switch and our PlayStation 5s. We would continue to do that. If they push out just another console that's stronger than what I have now, that doesn't even move the needle on the Richter scale. It's like, okay, by the time that hits, I'm imagining most of your major titles are going to be multiplats. So, and again, I'm presuming this. We don't know this for a fact. I think all signs point to this happening, but I'm envisioning playing Blade on my PlayStation 5 Pro. Right? That's what I'm envisioning. A new Indiana Jones game is in the works. Oh, they're already working on another one. A Jones game is in the very, very early stages, according to Bethesda. So are they? Is it going to be a sequel to the one coming out this year, or are they just... It'll be a while before we see what Machine Games is working on? Oh, no. Are those old articles? You're trying to get a bearing on when Indiana Jones entered development. Oh, in 2021, it was in its very, very early stages. I thought you were posting new articles. I was like, what the frick? They're already planning a new one? Okay, yeah. 3 years ago, it was in the very, very early stages. Yeah, I still have concerns that game gets delayed out of this year. Yeah. I have concerns that game gets delayed out of this year. 3 years ago, they said it was in the very, very early stages. I'm like, wait, what? That's such a short development window. That's not even a full 4 or 5 years of development. That's roughly 3, maybe 3.5. Game's really short. Unless what a lot of people said is the concern is they just repurposed a bunch of Wolfenstein stuff that they already had built. I don't know, because it would probably cross over. Adding matter with 8 months. Didn't Microsoft announce that they were open to third-party hardware consoles, which future pushes the hybrid narrative? Oh, yeah. See, I've not been mentioning that. Thank you, Hadigan, for bringing that up. I mentioned that in the monologue, in the premiere, the upload that we did. Yeah, it seems that they're open to that as well. They're open to, like, basically allowing... Imagine that you go to the store, and there's the Xbox PC, and then there's like the souped up Xbox PC by, I don't know, Alienware. Is Alienware even still around? Anyway, you know, you'd see the souped up version made by another company. The only thought I have there is would there be demand for that, right? I think that'd be the concern, is if a company invests in that, well, that's not a risk for Microsoft, right? That's a risk that company would take. Because really at that point, that's like, let's say Alienware is still around and Alienware does it, okay? They're hoping to appeal to who at that point? You know, let's say it's an $800 Xbox PC, you know, it's souped up, it's stronger, whatever. Who are they trying to appeal to? Because I don't think they're trying to appeal to the hardcore PC crowd, because they already know. They're like, I already have a PC, I can access Steam, and I can access the Xbox storefront. So what exactly are you giving me here? Does that make sense? I missed a super chat from Real King Salty with a $10 super chat. How do you think this would affect studios designing games for the Xbox itself, which can also play PC games? Wouldn't development strictly for Xbox become rather superfluous? It already is superfluous, Salty. That's exactly the problem I think this solves. Think about it. I said this in the upload. What you're doing is you're homogenizing development within a certain spectrum. Obviously, developing for PC is not homogenized, but it is more homogenized than developing for Series X, Series S, and PC. So picture a world where Series S and X exit the frame because they're too old. I'm thinking in 5 years, they exit the frame. They're now no longer getting the new games, okay? And you launch this thing, and the developers, all your first-party developers now, they start by developing for PC because that's a large market, and your Xbox PC is now a part of that market, and they build for PC and PlayStation. So now they're building for 2 platforms instead of 4. Series X, Series S, PC, PlayStation, maybe 5 if you include Nintendo. Dark Ops with 19 months of memberships. The kind of idea already exists. The Asus ROG Ally does all of this, and you can hook it up, and you can hook a 4090 to it. Well, so what you're telling me is there's a market for a device like this. And if you slap the name Xbox on it, it might work. William Lewis with 10 months. Sarah Bond has said new hardware announcement this holiday. With all the rumors circulating, they announced whatever it is at the June showcase instead. This holiday, you're getting the Series X white digital. And they'll probably say something like, let it snow. Because it's white. And it's coming out in the holidays. I can see it sitting in a snowdrift. I can see it with snowflakes on the marketing. Like, I can see it. Right? Just in time for the holidays. It's been rated in Korea, I believe. Or there was a dev kit in Korea, I believe, for the Series X digital that's coming. Xbox is just gaslighting Xbox Series owners so they can keep buying games and subbing to Game Pass. They're making a new console. Let them keep taking my money. Cut your losses, Xbox fans. I don't think they're making a new console. I think if they were making a new console, they would have said that. I think Sarah Bond would have said console. I think Phil Spencer would have said console. They both conveniently said hardware. There will be future hardware. We're working on future hardware. Future hardware. Like, they're not saying console for a reason. I think they're considering some type of a PC hybrid. They're considering some type of a cloud hybrid. They're considering some type of a handheld. It's all... I feel like maybe we're... the analogy of touching an elephant in the dark? And somebody would tell you that the elephant is like a tree because they're touching the leg. And somebody would say that the elephant is, like a snake because they're touching the nose. And some people would say that an elephant is like a wall because they're touching the side of the elephant. I feel like we're all touching different sides of the elephant. That whatever Xbox is bringing is all of the things we've been hearing about. Hybrid, cloud hybrid, PC hybrid. I think those are very similar ideas. Handheld, a PC. I think we're all touching different sides of the elephant. Eugene says, I have to imagine the market for a hybrid PC thing that easily hooks up to TVs and entertainment centers, has a simplified UI, can be turned on with a controller, be navigated by a controller, and has access to Steam and more is pretty high. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, I'm telling you, no matter what clips end up on Twitter, this is probably one of the most pro Xbox streams I've ever done. I'm like, if they do this, I think it would work. I think people would want it. I think there would be demand for it. Would it rival the Nintendo Switch and the PlayStation? I don't know. That's not their goal. I don't think their goal would be to rival. I think their goal would be to have a foothold in gaming, a foothold in hardware, to continue to promote Game Pass, and then they publish their games everywhere. That's why Satya is comparing themselves to all the publishers. Wired Rope with a 10 spot. If this was ever to become a real thing, Microsoft would have to make a standardized hardware list and release a free Xbox OS so anyone could build an Xbox with dev-wanted specs. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe. They don't really need to do that, though. If you build a PC right now, you have access to the Xbox Games app thing, whatever it's called. Like, you know what I'm saying? Now, that obviously needs a lot of improvement. Jez Corden from Windows Central's written about this. Many people have criticized the Xbox, PC app as being pretty poor. Right? Generally, that's been the ongoing narrative, is it's not so great. But I don't think you would need to be like, oh, if you want to build your own Xbox PC, you can. Who cares about that? They don't need that. They don't need to worry about that. The PC audience is kind of already doing what they're doing. Don't you see? This would be... So, okay. I want you to think about the people that you know who love their Nintendo Switch, but they don't really do anything with PC or the other consoles. Okay, I want you to think about those people, and I want you to imagine them sitting in a room. It's it's a fairly big room. Nintendo Switch is very popular. Gaming on the go is becoming more popular. Why? You see success and demand for products like the Steam Deck and the Asus ROG Ally, or you're supposed to call it a Rogue. If you wanted me to call it Rogue, put another letter in there. It's literally ROG. Anyways, there's obviously demand for those products. They're doing well. They're being sustained as products. The market's bearing that, and they're not like mainstay brands like Xbox. As far as like global brand awareness, I don't think Asus has the footprint that Xbox does. Now, Steam, it's hard to know because Steam is very popular and has a lot of users. But when I'm talking like global, you go into like brick and mortar retail, or you go to like Amazon, or you look at gaming, marketing, E3, Summer Showcase, Xbox has a very, very big marketing footprint. And they have the marketing spend of Microsoft to flex at any moment that they need. Xbox coming to the market with something like that, and they have the greater reach to market it. They have greater marketing spend to market it than Asus. Asus has a huge footprint. We're talking about Xbox, though. Xbox in the gaming world all of this time, when you say the word Xbox, like, people know exactly what you're talking about. Like, they've got a very, very large marketing reach. It's not about really comparing. It's about saying, if Asus can do it, if Steam can do it, don't you think Microsoft and Xbox could figure it out? Now, a lot of you are going to be like, no. Asus ROG motherboards, gaming monitors. Yeah, once again, man, you PC guys, you get off on the particulars. I'm talking about global marketing brand awareness. If you ask the average consumer, have you ever heard of Xbox? Have you ever heard of Asus? Who do you think's winning? Okay? Like, come on. Who's winning that contest of brand awareness, top of mind marketing brand awareness? Who has greater mind share of the globe? Come on. It's a fair statement to make, right? Don't straighten your glasses at me and say, well, they sell this many motherboards in a year. No, that's... Who the heck is Asus? I've always said Asus. What is it? Asus? I've always said Asus. I had way back in the day. That was one of my first towers that I had when I got into streaming. I had like those pre-built Asus red towers from Amazon. Asus doesn't need Microsoft at all. Oh, for frick's sake. You're not listening what I'm saying, Hotshot. Jiminy Christmas. Listen to what I'm saying. If companies with smaller global marketing reach can successfully launch what is essentially a handheld PC, Microsoft could do it. Don't you understand the reasoning that I'm applying here? It isn't difficult, right? I don't need to get out a dry erase board. This is very simplistic. If these guys can do it, they're smaller. These guys could pull it off. They have far bigger marketing reach. They probably have way more marketing dollars to spend. Wasn't responding to you. Oh, I thought you were responding to me. Oh, I am saying it correctly. Asus. Yeah. It's Asus. That's how Google says to say it. What does Microsoft know about making consumer products or marketing, honestly? Okay. If we were passing in the night, Hotshot, so be it. I thought you were like, I think you were kind of misunderstanding my point. The point that I was making is Steam approaching the general public with the product and Asus approaching the general public with the product, they don't have near the mind share and the marketing spend that Xbox has. So if Xbox comes to the market and says, hey, people seem to like these gaming handheld things, we have one. Look at the success of the PlayStation Portal as an example. That's not even a gaming handheld. It's not. It's an accessory for the PlayStation 5. And it's exceeded all of their projections for demand. Okay? You don't think that communicates to the competing company? You don't think Microsoft looks at that and says, people like this. They like the idea. It's a silent A. It's pronounced Zeus, honestly. Eugene says, I can't believe I'm defending Microsoft. The Microsoft Surface is one of the best pieces of consumer tech on the market. If that team can figure out how to do a console PC hybrid, then it would be an impressive piece of tech. Surface, hello? I can't believe I'm defending Microsoft. Right, like, don't ignore the Surface team. This is according to Jez Corden. The Microsoft Surface team has been helping with the console for a while. Well, they could be helping with the next iteration. Guys, do me a favor. We've been streaming for a little over an hour. Let's get more likes on the video. Anytime I talk Team Green, we get a lot of people in here that I guess they're just really wanting to know what I have to say, but they don't chat, right? Maybe a lot of them have been banned. His ABK coverage triggered me. I hope you're enjoying the show, right? Even if you're hate watching, I hope you're enjoying the show, right? Smash that like button, though. Take a second. A lot of y'all that lurk and listen every day, take a second and hit that like button. If you've never been here before, I'm a Safe for Work broadcaster. I stream Monday through Friday. We kick off every day with a premiere. And that premiere is my monologue. It's my thoughts on the idea. And we said Xbox is going to be more PC than console in the future. And that's what we're talking about right now. And if you're enjoying the conversation, be sure to hit subscribe so you can actually talk in the chat. And we have a goal for the week of 250 members. And we're off to a little bit of a slow start. But we had a strong start at the end of last week. And I believe we can get there again this week. You guys hit over 500 members last week. It was like 600, I think, by the end of the week. This week, we only need to hit 250, and I will play a rage game on Friday night. Button, who's got the button? Yeah. If you guys lurk and listen, a lot of y'all forget to go through that ritual of smashing the like button, so take a second to do that. Didn't the device lead this person leave Microsoft for another company? Oh, I'm not sure. Surface team working on it basically confirms that it's going to be a PC or a hybrid of some kind. Well, and I asked this question in the premiere, and we haven't really talked about it today. Could you see them pushing out an update to the Series X and the Series S to, like, dual boot into, like, PC? Reforge, you speak very eloquently. Some English majors can learn from you. I don't know if English majors would learn from me. I probably don't adhere to proper grammar when I speak as quickly as I do. But, like, I appreciate the compliment, but I don't know if you would want to trot me out as the paragon of English grammar. But, you know, it's kind of you to say that. Does Xbox become an easy entry point into the PC space? Again, I can only speak for myself, but I have a Nintendo Switch and I have a PlayStation 5 and I have an Xbox Series X. I don't turn on my Series X anymore. Why? Because outside of Game Pass, there has not been a compelling reason to. I won't turn it on for Hellblade 2 either. Why? We all know I want 60 FPS. We don't need to have that debate again, okay? But if Microsoft walked out with just another console in 4 years, I would be extremely uninterested in it. I'd be like, why would I need to buy that? Why? What purpose does it serve? If Xbox is shifting into multi-plat publishing, which Satya largely signaled that to investors in his recent comments, that we have more games in the top sold on PlayStation than any other publisher. He's like, we're going head-to-head with the publishers. So if that's happening in 4 years' time, I would imagine I'm playing most first-party Xbox property on my PlayStation 5 Pro or the alleged, and I think easy to assume, PlayStation 6. So what would a brand new Xbox console do for me? What? It would just be an access point to Game Pass. And then what? Potentially be stronger than the PlayStation 6? Are they going to try to do the power narrative again? I don't think so. Logic would dictate they're going to take a completely different approach to the next piece of hardware. Biggest technical leap, says Sarah Bond. And then you have Satya talking about more devices. You have Phil Spencer talking about more devices. You have Phil Spencer talking about opening up the model. Well, if you have a more open model, that my mind can only go to one place. If you're going to go with a more open model while also trying to do the greatest technical leap or the biggest technical leap, you're doing a PC hybrid. And you might even be doing something with the handheld attached to this somehow. Maybe the handheld attaches to the console and the console boosts performance, and it's basically a PC. It's like a Windows based. It's like a version of Windows, and maybe it's more contained, so you can't cheat and load cheats and things of that nature. It would be more contained, but it would essentially be a PC. I would buy that. I would buy that well before I would buy just another console. What's the value proposition of the next console? Just imagine they're gonna launch an Xbox Series W. Okay, they're gonna finally get a W with hardware. Okay, what's the value proposition if it's just a console? What's the point of it? What purpose does it serve? What problem does it solve? What? How do you get somebody to buy it? What are you gonna market on? Can't market on exclusives. Xbox exclusives, that's a bygone era. That's no longer a thing. They don't even use the phrase anymore. Every screen is an Xbox, and Xbox exclusive are, ironically enough, those are mutually exclusive terms. Like, those do not jive. There's no longer a way to market your hardware with exclusives because you're not doing exclusives anymore. Okay, so exclusives are off the table. What's your other method and other approach to value propositioning the latest Xbox console? What are you going to say? You're going to promote power? I think that's a losing battle. That's a losing battle. Like, you're fighting a battle you've already lost, and now you're attempting to, like, I guess, I don't even know, have a comeback with power. I think that's probably even less likely than trying to leverage exclusivity. Right? At least with exclusivity, they could leverage Game Pass, potentially, or timed exclusivity with their biggest property. That's, I think, very unlikely, but that's more likely than them trying to promote power again. So the only other option on the table, and I don't feel like I'm setting up a false dichotomy here, I think the only other option on the table is you sell people on features. You sell people on, as I said earlier when I imagined the marketing, it would be, this is the Xbox, and that's all they call it. They just call it the Xbox. It's literally just a box, and they say more than a console. That's the marketing lingo. That's the marketing slogan. More than a console. You are automatically undercutting Nintendo and PlayStation with one phrase. That's a marketing, that's a power move to say, well, yeah, you can buy a Nintendo Switch. That's fine. Those are great. Consoles are great. This is more than a console. And then you trot out why. Why is it more than a console? Well, it's a handheld. But wait, there's more. Well, how is it more than a console? Well, it's a PC. Well, how is it more than a console? Well, we've already talked about the fact that it's a handheld. We've already talked about the fact that it's a PC. But it will also give you access to your entire Xbox library, as well as the latest and greatest games to come to Xbox Game Pass. Now, that is a marketing trifecta that I think would be effective. You're hitting a new wave of access with handhelds. You're hitting people who have always considered maybe getting a PC or like the idea of having a gaming PC. And you're hitting existing or maybe even former Xbox owners. No TV. They'll never utter the phrase TV. I'll tell you that right now. Blue Reforge chat. They made the acquisitions. Logically, they can't just function as a publisher. That money is too slow. COD, okay. They have to justify job cuts, restructuring, etc., etc. More than a console, it also serves as a doorstop and a paperweight. That would be nice. No point in buying a new next gen when most releases are designed to run on the basic system for mass audience. I don't know if that's true. A lot of the new games coming out aren't running on old systems. You need to be the official, Microsoft's official salesman. I mean, this is all, in my mind, hypothetical, but I think they're very likely hypotheticals. I think it makes way more sense for them to break from what they've tried and try something different. They tried low entrance cost. They did with the Series S. It didn't work. Can you answer my question above? Yeah, hang on one second. Chat activity. If Xbox loses money on hardware and they bring Steam to Xbox, how would they make money without their 30% or Game Pass Core for network play? But they would make money on that 30%. Steam would have a vested interest in being a part of this, and I don't think Steam would say no to that. If you're gonna put if you're gonna put the Steam storefront on an Xbox PC, I think Xbox would ask for a royalty split on that. They would say, we're getting people into your storefront. Like, it's not the same as when you go buy a PC that isn't branded and then they download Steam on their own. This would be like, no, Steam comes pre-baked, it's already installed, it's ready to go, it's even potentially promoted. There'd be a marketing deal in place so that Steam would get more users. And then the trade-off would be, well, Xbox gets a cut of every game sold on an Xbox PC. Why would Steam care? It's more money. It's more money. That's why Steam would care. So Steam and Xbox would take a split from a dev to more than 30% total. Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh. So yeah, that certainly complicates it. The 30% would likely have to be then split somehow. Steam would take 20. Microsoft would take 10. I don't think it would be 15-15. I think it'd probably be a 20-10. You're right. I didn't consider that. The fact that Steam wants their 30%. Like, let's say you go to Steam and you buy... it would have to be a non-Xbox title. Okay? You buy Dragon's Dogma 2. If you buy Dragon's Dogma 2 on your Xbox PC, Steam would take 20, Xbox would take 10. Now, Xbox would have to make a pretty compelling offer to start shaving off 10% of the sale, and then Steam only getting 20. They'd have to make a pretty compelling offer in order to make that fly. Because you're right, like, how do you subsidize that? Like, if you're selling this hardware, likely at a loss, then you're not going to be able to subsidize that with just your property, because your property is being sold elsewhere. Maybe. Guys, I need you to take a second. We've done this a couple times today. I need you to just take a second and smash that like button. We don't like to do that. We don't like to stop the show and say that, but it does help. So take a brief moment. If you watch every day and you lurk and you listen and you might have forgot, double check too. YouTube's been squirrely lately. I've had people say, hey, I hit like and it's not there anymore. So double check. We've had some people in chat even in drawing attention to it. So it could be YouTube acting up. We've had some people in chat say like, hey, where are the likes today? Could be something on YouTube's end as well. So double check that. Steam doesn't need Xbox. Xbox needs Steam. Steam would likely hold their 30%. Yeah, but I think you're setting up a false framing. I don't think it's about does Steam need Xbox. It's Steam likes money, and if a projection and a proposition could be made that Steam will make more money and more sales, they would gladly take less royalty on every game sold on an Xbox PC if they could be compelled and convinced that it would lead to them making more money. If currently right now you were selling products and you were getting 30% on every product, and I came to you and I said, hey, I want you to put this stuff in my storefronts and I want 10%. And if you crunch the numbers and you're like, if we do this, we stand to make X amount of more revenue a year, which is X amount of more profit, then you say, we'll do it. You check my last comment. Sneaky Wolf says, Lono, so would you still have to pay for online? Well, you'd have to pay for online for the Xbox interface, but probably not for Steam. Why are we assuming Microsoft takes a percentage? It's not their box. They aren't acting like a platform in this situation. Well, I wasn't assuming they would take a percentage, but AOZ was asking the question, how do you subsidize this if you're adding a storefront where you get no percentage? Like, what does Xbox gain by putting Steam on the device if they don't get a percentage? Now they're just in the hardware business. They're just selling hardware. You see what I'm saying? This, I would say that this is a slight monkey wrench in the plan, because what motivation is there for Xbox to build this device to allow Steam to be on the device if they don't get any cut from those sales? Where's the motivation? What does Xbox gain by putting Steam on the device? What? They gain in addition to their value proposition, which now means they're just in the hardware business of selling this thing. I'm not saying they would shift to just hardware. I'm saying in this exchange, they would only be interested in basically selling hardware. Do we think they're that motivated to basically be in the hardware business? To create an open platform that then doesn't really generate revenue for them? Like, what's the purpose of this device within Xbox's structure? What does it do for them? Did Spencer even mention Steam? He mentioned Epic Game Store and itch.io, and I think people just assumed that, yeah, like Steam would be in consideration as well. Microsoft could add a caveat that they need to sell a certain amount of games, if not compensate Steam for loss of projected revenue. Microsoft money comes from sales in their store and licensing deals with the hardware developers. What in the world? Why am I getting all of these emails? It's like everybody pushes all of their Shure debuts, dynamic vocal microphones. Oh. You know what I need Shure to do? I need Shure to create a Bluetooth microphone that sounds really good. I think they already did. I think they emailed me about it. Nick has a good question. Who updates the PC Xbox? Is it the makers of the OS? I'm imagining that Microsoft would. Like right now, when you build a PC and Windows gets updated, Microsoft pushes out that update. You could buy your PC from, Best Buy, Alienware, or build it yourself. But if you want an update to Windows, it's coming from Microsoft. Making up is usually for instances where someone has to invest a large amount and wants to invest the investment protected. Steam wouldn't have or need to invest, as the only risk is their market share. Omar says, I agree that is a monkey wrench. I just don't see any feasible way for them to get a cut of the stream sales purely based on what device it is purchased from. Yeah, I just don't see the upside. I don't see a reason for Xbox to be like, let's put Steam on our Xbox PC if they don't get any amount of royalty share on the game sold. Because then again, then they're just selling a compelling piece of hardware. They're just selling a PC at that point. They're not selling... I think it would be a hard sell, because Xbox would be like, listen, we bring more to the table than these other PC companies, right? Like, Alienware is not out here asking for a percentage of all sales of games sold, in Steam on an Alienware PC. But Xbox would be like, no, we have much larger market share. If we're going to go out here and promote this, and we're going to promote your platform, and we're going to direct people to your platform, and we're going to support good software, integration, then we want a percentage of all those games that sell on our PC. And Steam may tell them to take a walk. They'd be like, no. They might say what some of you have said. They're like, you need us more than we need you. We don't need you. You failed to strongly enter the gaming hardware landscape, and you might not do it this time. We're not doing that. Is Microsoft getting royalty share from Adobe for copies sold on the Surface? I don't know. I don't know. If they're promoting it, maybe. Right? There could be some kind of a marketing deal. We'll put you front and center, and we want 5% if anybody buys. Like, I don't know. What if Steam says no, but Epic says yes? That could be leverage. That could certainly be leverage for sure. Microsoft really is in a pickle with Xbox. I truly believe Microsoft is holding out until Sony bends the knee and lets Game Pass on PlayStation consoles. There is not a universe where Microsoft or Sony wants that. I don't know why people keep putting that out there. Scott Free, I really want you to consider what you're saying. Satya Nadella just bragged about having 7 out of the 25 most sold games on PlayStation were theirs. They said more than any other publisher. Now, why in the world would you disrupt that with Game Pass on PlayStation? We're taking our games over there. We're some of the most sold games right now. There's way more money in that than taking Game Pass over to PlayStation. And PlayStation would say the same thing. PlayStation's like, your games are selling really well over here. Thank you for that 30% on every copy sold. No, we have no interest in bringing Game Pass over here. That's a smaller margin. Why would we do that? The CFO of Xbox said they want to move their property into high margin markets. That's not Game Pass. That's selling. They want to sell software. Xbox's weakness has been exposed, and they really have no bargaining chips. Well, their bargaining chip is the software. What do you mean? You don't think Call of Duty is a bargaining chip? You don't think when it's time to renew that contract, they're going to tell PlayStation, we'll give you 25% on every copy sold. What's PlayStation going to do? Say no? PlayStation makes so much money off Call of Duty. They're almost assuredly going to have to agree to a new contract with a lower royalty share. That's a freaking bargaining chip if I've ever seen one. Being able to go to a platform and say, hey, that annual COD money, am I right? It's so good. Whew. Yeah, we sold a lot. Well, we're going to need you to agree to another 7-year, 10-year contract. And this time around, we're not giving you 30. We're going to give you 25. They're going to take they're going to take a page right out of Bobby Kotick's playbook. That's what Bobby Kotick did. Bobby Kotick literally went to Xbox and Microsoft and was like, yeah, we're going to give you, we want a better cut. What are you going to say no to Call of Duty? It's monolithic. It's a Leviathan title. You need it. They already signed the contract? For sure, Microsoft entered into a 10-year contract with PlayStation to grease the wheels of the regulators. However, when that contract expires, you better believe that Microsoft's going to come to the table and tell PlayStation, we're going to give you less. Because what's PlayStation going to say? That draws too much attention. We're going to keep the game at 30, but the microtransactions are going up to 50. Right. Whatever it turns into, Zuby, they're going to come to the table and say, we really feel like Call of Duty brings a significant value to the platform, and we really feel like the new terms of this contract better reflects how much we're giving to you by allowing this game to come to your platform. They will say no. PlayStation said no to the 3-year contract. PlayStation said no to the 3-year contract because they knew they could get a longer contract. They're not going to say no to a reduced royalty share because they need the money. They're not going to say no to that. Absolutely not. They'll be like, no, we need that revenue. Even if we make a percentage less every year, like if we make 5 or 10% less on the royalty share, that's better than not getting the next Call of Duty. Now, it's a symbiotic relationship, right? It's a symbiotic relationship. Microsoft needs PlayStation just about as much because it's like, well, if you don't sell your game over here, you're going to lose a ton of money too. So there's definitely going to be, I would say, some bargaining tug of war going on. They're both grabbing onto something that they need, and if they pull too hard, it'll snap. That's how negotiations work. Right. They both need each other. The mutual destruction of not putting Call of Duty on PlayStation is not in the interest of Xbox or PlayStation. They would come to terms, but I guarantee you that Xbox is going to insist on a contract where they give less money to PlayStation. Bobby Kotick did it, and he pulled it off. He did it to Xbox. I wouldn't surprise me at all if they pull out that Bobby Kotick playbook and they approach PlayStation and say, we would like a better split here. The deal ends 10 years from now. Will COD be that big of a deal? I mean, I'm assuming even if they see commercial decline, Eugene, they would still, even if Call of Duty sees a 10 to 20% commercial decline over the next 10 years, that's still way too much money to turn your nose up to. You would be willing to accept new terms just to keep that revenue flowing. Call of Duty is just too big. Even if Call of Duty severely reduces in size commercially, that's still a ton of money. I don't think that PlayStation or Microsoft could afford to mutually destruct the deal. I don't think that. But I also don't think that we walk out onto the field in 10 years and say nobody's talking about Call of Duty. Forget the contract. Oh, forget COD. It'll be a contract for the annual Helldivers franchise. Helldivers 9, Black Bug Ops. People act like 10 years is a lifetime. Yeah, 10 years is pretty short, honestly. We're going to blink and we're going to be like, you guys remember that time they signed that contract? Like, it'll be fairly quickly. It'll be fairly quick, I should say. Remember what Khan said? I'm not sure what you're referring to. I think we're giving COD a lot of credit even in 2024. Well, you might be having a different conversation. No one is speaking to the quality of Call of Duty. We're speaking to the amount of money that the franchise generates. If you want to look at the annual release, sure, look at Warzone, look at microtransactions, look at daily and monthly, active users, look at daily and monthly, generated revenue. Call of Duty is a powerhouse. Even when Call of Duty struggles, it's still one of the most sold games. Call of Duty Vanguard was still a top-selling game that year. Even when it struggles, right? It's like taking an all-star player and he has an off game and he still outperforms most people in the sport. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, even when an all-star has an off night, he's still pulling more and doing more than a lot of other people in the sport. Like, Call of Duty is just so gigantic that even when it struggles, even when it dips, it still generates a stupid amount of money. I always thought Battlefield was better than COD. I just don't get what EA is doing now. To your point, Madden has been a trash game for years and it still sells well. I'm just saying something isn't too big to fail. Well, I mean, nobody said it was too big to fail, so you're doing a little bit of shadow boxing. I didn't say that. I said that even if it has a significant reduction commercially, it still generates too much money for a platform to just be like, no, we don't want it anymore. Like, take the annual revenue that Call of Duty generates and cut it down by 30%. That still is such a ridiculous amount of money that no company would say, we don't want that. Like, PlayStation would be like, nah, yeah, we don't want that money. Like, businesses don't tend to say, yeah, we're fine with losing money. That's okay. Call of Duty with 30% of its users would still fall where on the annual lists? I don't know. Call of Duty's too big. Yeah, like I said, you're shadowboxing. If you're talking to somebody in chat, that's fine. I never said it was too big to fail. I said it's too big to just be like, yeah, we don't want it on our platform. Even if there's a significant reduction in the commercial success of the game, you're not going to turn down that much money. Comparatively, compare Call of Duty's annual revenue generation to all of the other games, and then just cut Call of Duty's annual revenue in half. It's still going to be generating way more money than most games. That's exactly why you would never be like, no, we don't want your game anymore. It's not as popular, or it doesn't generate as many sales. It's so gigantic. The company wouldn't say, oh yeah, that's fine. We're okay to lose all that money. And it could affect more than COD money because most people own a single home console, right? So then you might lose customers generally rather than COD customers. I'm not sure what you're saying. People don't understand how much mindshare matters for things staying profitable. Well, Call of Duty staying quote-unquote profitable is extremely easy to course correct on, right? It's extremely easy to course correct on. What you would do is you would just reassign studios to other property, have them work on other projects, or close them entirely. There's like 10 or 11 studios working on Call of Duty. There's a lot of expenses annually that they could cut to protect the profitability of Call of Duty. You know what I'm saying? Pedantic, too big to fail typically doesn't mean that something can't fail. It's that if it does fail, it destroys everything around it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anybody was saying too big to fail. I was taking a completely different approach. I was saying that even if it has a commercial reduction, even if its success commercially reduces over time, you would still see people or companies wanting a piece. It's just so big. It should have been easy to keep Halo on course. It was also huge. I don't know if Halo's even ever come close to the size of Call of Duty with respect to, user base and money, because Call of Duty has been a multi-plat game since its inception, so I don't think it's a fair comparison. Guys, in about 20 minutes, we're going to the writer's room. Now's a great time to gift some members so they can come with us. The writer's room is where we plan the next day's show, so you get to see behind the scenes. You get to see how these shows come to be, how we think about the title and the POV. And we haven't missed our 25 goal in like a year and a half. And when you hit that, I give 5 back. So it's a great opportunity to get more people into the members pool. And so you got a little over 20 minutes before we make that shift. Do me a favor. If you can't do a membership, hit the like button, hit subscribe. That helps out the channel as well. And that's totally free. Subscribing costs nothing. Joining is separate. Now, if you want to support the channel directly, we are asking and saying, listen, I don't do sponsorships. I'm not sitting here being like, this video is brought to you by, and that's because you guys sponsor the channel. We are not a very large channel. We don't even have 50,000 subscribers, and I do this full time, and it's because of the gifting members and the members that join, which is why we've continued to say, if you listen and enjoy this content every day, supporting it helps us avoid a lot of those other things that you have to do, and that is great, because then we can also make more room for people when we gift, because a lot of people can't afford a membership. So if you listen every day and $5 a month seems worth it to you for the writer's room and those Friday night segments, as well as just worth it to support the channel, consider joining. You can also upgrade, and that gets you into more content as well. And people here are very generous. They're gifting all of the time, and then we pay it forward and I gift back as well. 10 years is a long time for gamers. I'll be 49. Lono will be in his 50s. We're the generation that made COD what it is. The question is whether the younger players keep it going. I mean, that certainly is true that good morning, Feed. I see you in the chat. That certainly is true that I've already aged out, Eugene. I already consider myself aged out of Call of Duty. I don't have any interest in it. Patrick Q says, is anybody down for a little single choo-choo? Who's in the writer's room? All gifted and paying members come to the writer's room, and then I hop on a call with my producer, and you hear us kind of plan the next day's show. So you're basically paying to support the channel, and then you get into extra content. You get behind the scenes. I do a Friday night stream with my wife. That was really funny this last week because you guys hit the goal and my producer had to play Fall Guys. I mean, I've already aged out of Call of Duty. I would be curious the age demographic breakdown of Call of Duty right now, Eugene. Patrick Q gifts a member. He's trying to start a single gifted train to help us get to that 25 goal, and he takes us to 3, and it goes to the Mean Joe Green. Thank you so much, Patrick Q. Warzone will keep it alive. I'm aged out. I haven't played in years. Yeah, it's like I'm older, I'm slower, I don't like it anymore. It's like I'll play a couple rounds and laugh, and then you end up in a sweat box and you get murdered by a player who lives in the game, and people are like, well, get good, skill issue. No, I just don't care. You know? It would be like going to the park and I try to do a balance beam and I fall off. And somebody be like, skill issue, you got to get good. I'd be like, I don't really care that much to like go train and get better at the balance beam. I just would walk away and do something else. I'd kick a soccer ball with my kids or something. And a single gifted comes in from Sneaky Wolf, and one comes in from RPG and sets us up at 5 out of 25. We may see a 20 bomb dunker sneak in. Thank you guys so much. So like, I've already aged out, and not just aged out, like my palate has changed. So the question is, have I been replaced? Right? Thank you so much, DK Baker, for gifting another member. There's no age, you just suck. Yeah, I mean, there's somebody right there that thinks that like skill in a video game matters. Like that's just such an adolescent view of reality. That's juvenile. I play just fine. A 1.0 KD is better than the majority of the player base. But a 1.0 KD is enough to be considered quote-unquote good, and then you end up playing players who just know life the game, and it's like, dude, I'll go play something else. I play video games to have fun, not put on a sweatband and try to get good. Like, the people that take some weird sense of pride out of their skill in a video game, if that brings you joy and satisfaction, great. I don't care about that. I have other things in my life that matter more than how good I am at a video game. Like, to me, that would be like bragging at how good you are at the game pickup sticks. I'd be like, yeah, no one cares about that. You know what I'm saying? There's always somebody better than you. Unless you're the best player in the world, no one cares. You're good. Oh, you're better than other people? Who cares? Like, why does that even matter? Like, games are supposed to be, in my mind, they're supposed to be fun. And if you're not having fun, then you stop playing. It would be like me playing Madden and getting smoked by some pro Madden player. Well, get good, bro. Why? I don't like it. I don't care. You know what I mean? I step on a skateboard and I fall off and I hurt my back. I'm like, ow, that hurt. Well, get good, bro. No, I'm good. I don't like skateboarding. Why would I commit time to getting better at it? He's right. Have you considered not sucking? Right. Finding the average age of COD players is 28. In 10 years, that becomes 38, unless younger players are coming in behind them. Well, I don't know if your math is mathing, Eugene, because the average age being 28 might not go. They might not actually go up, because if those older players drop off, then the 28 might stay or lower. Right? I don't know who accounts for the 28 average. right? Like if enough of the oldies fall off, then it could pull it down. William Lewis with a $5 super chat. All I want is fanboy reaction for COD. If success, Xbox had nothing to do with it. If it's failure, Xbox screwed it up. Reverse it for the PlayStation side. I mean, that's what frustrated me about Modern Warfare 3. I wish that the acquisition had not gone through, because Modern Warfare 3 was a steaming pile. It was literally an unformed pile. It was garbage. And it got turned into a console war. It was like, you're only saying that because Xbox owns it now. I'm like, what? No. Did you play it? Did you watch the gameplay of it? Did you see how Bush League it was? Did you see how slapped together it was? It was so blatantly DLC. It was so obvious that it was never designed to be a sequel. It was trash. It was probably one of the worst Call of Duty campaigns I have ever played. And it got turned into, well, you're only saying that because Xbox. I don't give a frick who owns it. It's bad. Like, people that can only view the world in that way, it's like, I'm sorry, you're too limited. Like, that's your own problem, right? Your limited power, your limited powers of perception aren't my responsibility. Modern Warfare 3 was bad. It was terrible. Look at the scores. It had nothing to do with who owned it. And nobody in their coverage that was criticizing it, legitimately, nobody that was criticizing MW3 was blaming Xbox. Anybody blaming Xbox is just being a troll. They know they're being disingenuous and dishonest. If they're like, yep, look what happens as soon as Xbox owns it. Yeah, you mean the game that was in production for the last 2 to 3 years, and we have it on good authority that was planned to be a DLC, and then they were told to turn it into a DLC launch, and it was largely at the helm of Activision. That has nothing to do with Xbox. Yeah, sure, you disingenuous liar. Yeah, it has nothing to do with Xbox. But that's what they do. They're trolling. They're not telling the truth. It's almost a gag. But then if you criticized MW3, that was the assumption. That was that you were just console warring and blaming Xbox. And it was like, no. Activision made the decision to turn that DLC into a sequel. It was their choice. It was so dumb. Even internal developers let it be known that like they were suddenly told to do something completely different. It was ridiculous. It was an insult. In their defense, it was a miracle that it was done in less than half a year. It really was. It really was. Like, that was like when Anthem came out, and then we learned that like Anthem was built in like 18 months, and you're like, how did you guys even get this out the door? MW3 multiplayer was fun, in my opinion. The campaign sucked. The campaign is everything that we said it was going to be. That's why it was frustrating that the acquisition sort of hijacked that conversation. I told people well in advance. I said, oh, these open combat missions, I said, this is what it will be. And I might as well have been a leaker at that point. I quite literally described the open combat missions to a T. I said, repurposed open world maps with generic objectives like the DMZ. And it was like somebody from the Call of Duty department was like, that sounds really good, do that. It's like literally what those missions were. Like, you're not going to get the curated Call of Duty campaign that you're accustomed to. You're not going to get that. It's going to be slapped together. It's going to be padded DLC. That's exactly what it was. That's why it was so frustrating for that conversation to be dislodged and hijacked, because it was like we were saying this before the acquisition took place, because anybody with any ability to deduce what they were saying, they were stressing too much that the open world missions were like revolutionary and never been done before. They were compensating, bro. They were little man driving a Hummer. It was like, I know what you're doing. You are so overcompensating for these missions. You're trying to sell me on them. I've never been sold on missions. When have they ever tried to sell you on missions? What are you talking about? They talk about the story. They talk about the characters. They don't like, there's going to be a mission in this game where you swim. Like, they've never done that before. Now, they might show you missions where you're swimming or show you really incredible environments, but they don't talk about the missions. Yo, English O with 32 months of the VIP. Shut up, pony. We all know you go to sleep hugging your PS5. It's not Xbox's fault that the PS5 has good games. Pretty much. Anthem was such a good game if it was only built upon. If they would have built Anthem, if you would have been able to take the concept of Anthem that they finally settled on and like travel back in time and give them 4 to 5 years to build it, we would still be talking about it and probably playing it today. I think it would have been a success. It would have been a success. All right, guys, in 10 minutes, we're going to go to the writer's room. And, yeah, this ain't happening today. It looks like, let me set up. Well, I'm not going to set it up yet, but you got 10 minutes. You got 10 minutes. Poor Patrick Q tried to get you guys to do a single train. You guys let Patrick down. Patrick, if I were you, I would start scolding him. I can't believe you said little man driving a Hummer. Yeah, that's right. That's the classic trope, right? Of compensating. You're compensating. You're trying to appear bigger than you are, right? It would be like me boosting up my chair and like sitting really high and being like, yeah, I'm just too tall. I can't frame the shot right, guys. I'd be compensating for the fact that I'm a short person, right? You know what I'm saying? I drive a minivan. I don't try to compensate. I'm like, yeah, I'm short. Who gives a frick? Why do you care about that? I can't do anything about it. And a 5-bomb comes in from Lone Wolf. He's like, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, we're not missing this goal. Thank you so much. Lone Wolf. Lono's bedroom layout. That's right. Lono can say that he's 5'2". I'm 5'6", but okay. I'm a fan of a big boy driving a Civic. That guy parties. Titanfall 2 got killed because Apex is much more important. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Did you mean to say Titanfall 3? That explains the haircut. Oh, yeah, that explains the haircut. That's right. The hair, that's exactly what it is. Oh, man. Lono drives a minivan, and when he grows up, he'll drive a real van. That's right. I'll get to upgrade from the Mini. You get to do that. You have to drive it for so long, though, before. You get to put in the hours and get those achievements. Found a boss that I don't like in Stellar Blade. No spoilers, but I got to where Kirk was talking about last night. And, yeah. It was good. It was really good. And I think I kind of agree with him. Like, the boss challenge boss is not as fun or satisfying to play as the other bosses. Like, I even know the entire moveset of the boss challenge boss, and he's just not as fun. I don't know what it is. As soon as I started playing the sections after that Kirk was talking about, I was like, you know what? I think he might be right. I think like these other fights are better. They're more satisfying. Now, he used different words, right? He's talking about cheap and trash and this and the third. I just think it's not as enjoyable because of the flow and how the enemy behaves. I think there are other fights where the telegraphs and the movesets they lead to something that is more satisfying. All right, in 7 minutes, guys, we're going to be heading to the writer's room. I'm going to set it up right now, and I do initially set it up to where it doesn't hit your notifications. We're trying to limit notifications on the channel. It was notifying you like every time we did something. If you want to bring people with us, and then I have to give 5, we got to hit 25. And I am literally not going to extend today. I'm not doing that. We are going in 6 minutes. So that's how much time we have before we're going to the writer's room. And if we lose the streak, we lose the streak. That's just how it goes. Let me switch this from private to... This is going to be for all channel members, gifted and above. You get to come to the writer's room. A great reason to join. Great reason to support the channel. A segment we do every day. And it's not letting me set up redirect. What is going on here? I'm going to have to refresh the dashboard. It's like telling me that there's no scheduled live stream. Give me a second. YouTube is being kind of weird. I just beat the final boss. Major difficulty spike. Yeah, I've heard that it gets harder at the end. You're not the first person to say that. You are not the first person to say that. All right, redirect, writer's room. There we go. It's working now. I have to pop out chat again. I don't want 2 chats open. That's distracting. There we go. I like the boss after Stalker. That's as far as I am, though. Yes, the boss after the Stalker is good. There's a named boss that you fight. No spoilers, but it's called a Juggernaut. That's an amazing fight. And then there's a fight after that that is really good. Yeah. If Brent wasn't due, I'd help. No, you're fine. You're fine. I'm not going to belabor it. I'm not. I try to ask for likes every 45 minutes or so. And I really wasn't pushing this today. We just got into a huge debate. All of a sudden I looked up and I was like, oh wow, it's 11:30. You know, we got to get going. So I didn't make much mention of it. We are each week having a different goal. No, I did not beat No Rest for the Wicked. I don't play PC games at length. I don't, because I have to come into my office. So I played No Rest for the Wicked on stream. I let you guys see it. I believe they're planning a console release. So if it's a PC only game, I'll show it, I'll play it, but I'm just not set up for it. I like to sit on my couch and game. I don't come into the office and game. Unless I've already set up and I'm trying to capture footage. I've done that before. Joker Quinn gifts a member and takes us to 12, the halfway mark to 25, where I have to give 5. You guys have 4 minutes. Effing peasant. I try to beat the bosses without beta skills and only the refilling health items. I'm trying to beat the bosses from this point forward without using the res, because like I rezzed on the Stalker just because like I had him down to like nothing and I've already played him so many times. I was like, I don't need to experience this without res. But I didn't use res on Juggernaut. I beat him first try, super satisfying. And then the fight after, same thing. I got the boss down to like a sliver. Thought I did a great job. I made like a silly mistake and got caught in a flurry. I got caught in a frenzy, and so I used the res. I was like, okay, no, I didn't use the res the first time, and then the second time I was like, okay, I figured the fight out. I had a good time. I'm gonna use res and go hit them once, and then the fight was over. So I'm trying to do the same thing. I'm trying to kind of force myself to overcome the fight and not just, because typically I die when they have like 5 or 10% of their health left, and I know if I res, I can win. So I'm trying to do the same thing. This game would be so much better had they just stayed focused. I still really like it, even the story so far. Kirkwood's 100% on the difficulty spike at the end. Okay. All right, guys, in 3 minutes, we're going to the writer's room. And make sure and smash a like before we go over there. We probably have about 50 of you that haven't hit like yet, so double check, make sure it saved your like. Let's hit 400 likes before we go to the writer's room. DK Bager gifts a member. DK Bager and Joker Quinn are like, come on, guys. We have not missed this streak in a year and a half, and we are on the cusp of missing and losing our streak of at least 25 members, and I gift the 5. They're trying. DK Bager and Joker Quinn are the kings of single gifteds. Check out the retro video I posted when you get time. It may interest you. What's it about? It's a retro video on what? This is the 3rd CM position to go up on the Bungie site since the layoffs. 2 CMs were laid off. I've never been good at math, but... You've never been good at math, but maybe you were fired. Like, you know? Just like the 1 CM who said there was no muzzle big enough. Bye. Like, it seemed like the people who got the most vocal and the most snippy on Twitter were the first to go. Joker Quinn gifts another one and takes us to 14. You guys literally have a minute. Patrick does another one. 15 out of 25. You guys have a minute. They've set up a 10-bomb dunker. We'll see if somebody tries to do a buzzer beater. I told you guys I'm not extending today. I'm going to open up the back end. I'm going to get you a link. I'm going to spam the link for the writer's room. You guys are 10 away. You guys love to do the buzzer beaters. You're taking it all the way to the final seconds today. Come on, YouTube. Let me in the... What the... It's doing that thing where it doesn't show me the videos. Hang on. Okay. All right. I got the link. Officially down to... It looks like 30 seconds on my end. 30 seconds. I'm going to spam the link in chat and we're getting out of here. A single from Mike on a mic takes us to 16. I hope I catch you tomorrow, Reforge. Take care. All right, see you, Bush and Ryu. Thank you very much. 16. Lone Wolf says, please chat. Oops. What the heck? I can't type. Lone Wolf says, come on. Go, go, go. It's over. It's over. It's officially noon. You guys missed it. All right, I'm going to put the link in Discord. I like to put it in the members room, and I put it in the live chat as well. And if you guys click on this link and you can't have access to the stream, that's because you're not a member. And if you upgrade or join, you can come in. DK Baker gets another one and takes us to 17. One comes in from Cisco, takes us to 18. You guys. I said I wasn't stretching. I'm not stretching. I'm not. I'm spamming the link. You have until the time that I start and end the next stream. All right? You need 7, and I'm starting the next stream. Give me a second. No, I don't want to do ultra latency. We've been doing ultra latency, and it just caused all kind of blips. Okay, here we go. Hey, thanks so much. Oops, wrong camera. Thanks so much for being a member. You may have gotten gifted a member, and Mike on the mic does it at the tail end. He does a 10 bomb. I knew it. Now I owe you guys 5. Give me a second. I'm going to do it really quickly. I'm doing this in the intro to the writer's room. You guys have kept the streak alive. I'm going to give the 5 members that I owe. Everybody gets the members here at the buzzer. I'm going to end the stream, and I'm going to redirect you over to the writer's room. And typically I do that about 30 seconds or so that way it's a smooth transition. If you're seeing this video in your feed, it's because you were gifted a member, you became a member, and Ravenstorm also gifted a 5 and took us to 33. And you guys did it. You guys did it. It's 12:01. It took you 1 minute past. I'm ending the stream. I'm going to redirect people over. And then I'm going to change the thumbnail. And let's see, because we're no longer live. I have a non-live version of the thumbnail. There we go.